My next guest is Daniel Levine, the author of the book The Mosaic. Daniel says about himself that he is the packaging or the vehicle through which love is delivered into the world. His mission in life, the way I understand it, is to change one person and one corporation at a time through love and thus changing the world paradigm.
I'm all the better for being able to be here with you.
Oh, thank you so much.
May I test something out on you?
Yes.
So I sat with somebody. They see something in me and they want to create a business out of me. And so I want to know if this statement lands with you because what
Okay.
they wanted to know is what is the problem you're solving and that people have and how would you solve it? As we were sitting, and I don't think this is quite the final version of it. I want to know if you think this touches on what people fear, on what the pain of people is. Okay?
Okay.
I am scared to death that if you knew who I was behind this facade, you wouldn't love me.
Uh, it almost brings tears to my eyes. So it touches. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, and so because of that, then what happens is we we start to forget who we actually are.
Yes.
We start to believe we're the facade around us, and we forget the person that's inside there because we're so scared to death that if we show that person, and if we're really vulnerable and we're really hoping that people won't like us, people won't love us, and we can't deal with that rejection.
Yes.
And so the work that we do is to dissolve that facade and help people remember how beautiful they are and help people see who they are. Does that sound like it touches the place? Like you've seen a lot of people in your life. Does that feel like it's a? I know it touches you, which I love. That's beautiful because I can feel how much it touches you just through your facial expressions in your eyes.
I think so. Now there are different kinds of people. A lot of people nowadays believe that you can be successful only if you play the game. And this game uh, involves having a facade and being tough and being in competition.
Yeah,
For that reason, they have a hard time opening their hearts and minds to other ideas. I have friends, my closest friends, they're not open to these ideas. I find I can talk about, I find people somehow that are open to these ideas that are not my friends.
yeah,
And um but no matter what I told my friends, no matter what, let's say, evidence based, or they are not willing to listen. So this is a message that resonates with me and with some people that I know, but I'm not sure it resonates with I'm in New York.
right.
um I'm not sure it resonates with the typical New Yorker.
Yeah, I love that, and thank you for your honesty. So one of the things that happens in the rooms that I'm in and in the work that I do is that instead of telling people what I think, I love and accept people. I listen to people and hear people, and I acknowledge them and validate them for who they are. And even people who don't resonate with the pain point that I'm calling out, what I find in time to get when we spend time together, and they have to feel it. They have to trust me and feel loved and accepted. They have to feel listened to and heard. They have to feel acknowledged and validated. And when they feel that, it's almost miraculous to watch what happens as walls come down because they don't feel like they have to protect themselves because they feel pretty safe. And when those walls come down, we actually stand in front of each other vulnerable and real, naked, not physically naked, because that wouldn't be, right? But emotionally naked. And when people see that, it just happened to me today, in a conversation I was having, and this woman said to me, um, I feel really ugly today. And I said, I understand. And that's okay. I love you anyway. And you can, she said, but I'm really, like, I really hurt somebody today. And I said, I so understand. I mean, I know that from inside. I know that I've hurt people too, and I know how that feels. And I want you to know that love has no barrier. Love doesn't care if you're a nice person or a bad person. Love loves because it doesn't know how to do anything else but. And I want you to know I love you. And she just started crying and crying. She went from being hard, exterior, to just crying. I said, what happened? And she said, you have no idea how much I needed to hear that. You have no idea what that love means. And I said, but I'm like an imperfect stranger, sitting in through a screen that you have never even talked to, don't even know. This is our first conversation. Why does that mean so much to you? She said, because the fact that anybody could love me when I am the person that I see myself to be right now gives me hope that the world might love me if I were able to show myself more. And I said, but you're such a beautiful, like, you're focusing on the 5% that you didn't do beautiful, when the 95% of you is this extraordinary, magnificent human being. Like, let people see that. And it's so disarming in some ways when we just listen to people and hear them and understand them and acknowledge them and love them, and whether they feel lovable or not. And to me, that's the glory of this work that we do together.
It's beautiful. But just to bring people to the room to talk to you, that's not easy. If you And that's what I'm trying many times, to just bring people to a room in Clubhouse,
Yeah,
to a to a discussion.
yeah. People, like, when I go into some of the rooms, it's hard for me to stay in them too long, because, and I'm there to listen to people, but I don't feel that I'm listening to the real person. I feel like I'm hearing facade after facade after facade after facade talking to me about what they want me to think of them.
Mm.
And um, I feel a lot of people vying for attention. I feel a lot of people trying to tell me what they do so I'll work with them and become their client. I feel a lot of people telling me what they think love is. But when you think what love is, you don't feel love.
Yes.
And, and oftentimes I'll just walk into a room and they'll say, Danny, what would you like to say? And they invite me up to be a moderator oftentimes, because I don't know why. And I just said, I would like to spend my portion of the time just in quiet. And I'd just like to invite us all to just feel each other and just feel how much love is in this room. And that we don't need to have clients, and we don't need to sell people. We don't need to talk philosophy. All we need to do is open up our heart. I have a room tonight that I'm doing that says my only practice now is love. There's nothing else that's important. And that feeling of just experiencing the experience of love together, it's such a radical expression that suddenly when I go places now, people are thinking to follow me into rooms that I go into, and I'm saying to them, please don't misunderstand what's happening. I am the box that love has been placed in. And so love needs a delivery system from where it is to where you are. So it puts it into this box, It delivers it to you. But when it comes to you, you don't celebrate the box. You open up the box, you put it in the recycle bin, and you celebrate the present that's inside. Now throw the box away. This present is yours. Just sit in that love and just feel it and enjoy it. Let it move through you and let it experience all of you, your weakness, your sadness, your love, your hatred, your pain, your sorrow, your yelling at yourself, your judgment of yourself, your glory in yourself, all of it. Let it touch all of it and see what that experience feels like for you.
But I saw you doing that again and again. I was so touched because that's how I met you in Clubhouse. You have quite a following there and on Instagram. And I was so impressed how people were there just transformed just by being there in touch with each other. And I was in a room with you about vulnerability, and everybody was so respectful of each other and really opening their hearts. So it is something about you that make people who come there to behave in a certain way. You create a certain community around you wherever you go.
I thank you for giving honor to the one that deserves no honor. I appreciate that. And I think there's a safety. I think love is quiet. It doesn't speak. My wife is the same way. She's more quiet than I am. But in the rooms that we go into, she's aligning the energy of the room. But people don't know that she's doing that, so they give credit to the noise rather than the quiet. Love is the same way. Love is quiet. It isn't me that has created that space. It's love itself that's created the space. I've just delivered the package of love into that room. But to think that the package is creating anything more than the delivery of the beautiful present of love is to misread to me what's actually happening. Love is the thing that holds the space, and when people feel that love, they instantly want more of it. And the reason they want more of it is because of how good it feels. So I appreciate, I remember sitting with my teacher and he would teach and people would come up to him and they would say, what a beautiful class you gave today. And he had a picture of his teacher behind him. He would just laugh and laugh and laugh. And people would say, why are you laughing? He said, oh, please don't think I'm laughing at you. I'm just laughing because he does all the work and you give me all the credit. And it's that we're not used to the power of silence. We think because someone speaks, they're responsible for what's happening. But it's actually, even in the speech that I do, it's the silence between the words that actually creates the feeling of the room, not the words that I say.
So how did you come to discover love, the source? Because you left also from the business world. You were very successful. You said you were managing a $1 billion company.
Yeah.
And
Let me put it in context. After my parents passed away, I moved in with my aunt and uncle in a different part. I was in the East Coast, they were in the Midwest. My uncle was a household name around the world. And when I came, he had 3 daughters. And it was the time, this was 50 some years ago. And in those days, thank God we've grown out of those days. But in those days, a man didn't give his business over to his daughters. It was just not what he did. He gave them over to his sons, but he didn't have any sons. So when I came in after my mother's sister was the wife of the man that I'm speaking of. And so when I came in, he thought, okay, this could be a nice opportunity for both of us. He said, I'm going to watch you for a month and a half and see who you are. And it might take a month, it might take 6 months, but I think about a month and a half, under 2 months, I think I'll be able to figure out something. And if I see something that I like, I'm going to change your life. and offer you something. I said, what are you going to offer me? He said, just let's take our time. Let's just, a month and a half into it to the day, he said, I'm going to pick you up at school today. Here's a note, give to the school, tell them you have to leave at lunchtime. I'm going to pick you up at school and I'm going to take you out to lunch. And he took me out to lunch and he told me, I've been watching you for a month and a half, keenly. There are things about you that will either make you skyrocket to success or make you fall flat on your face. And I believe you have what it takes to start pushing a broom tomorrow and work your way up to the top of my company in 15 years. 15 years is when I want to retire. So I would start you at the bottom. You work as hard as you can to work your way up. Where you fall, I will lift you. I will mentor you and I will get you to the next level and we'll see where you can go. We'll just see how far you can rise. But I believe in 15 years, you will be in my seat running a multi-billion-dollar company. He said, what do you think? And I said, I'm honored beyond belief, right? Beautiful thing to offer me. And you're a brilliant man. You're smart. You're intuitive. You know how to read people. I'm a little kid. I'm 15 years old. I don't know anything. So I would like to watch you for about a year. And I would like to see if who you are is who I want to be. Because I can have all that money, but I don't know that I want to. I want to know that the person I become as a result of that money or with that money is a person that I enjoy being. And he said, okay, do you know that 99.99999, say 9 until you almost die, would have said, why wait tomorrow? Well, let's go to the office right now and let me start pushing the broom today.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, just our rotten luck. I'm the point. Said, until you almost die and put a 1 there. But that's just who I am. And so, long story, already too long. A year came and we sat together with each other and we both realized this wasn't mine to do. And so I walked away from it before I went into it. But I had the opportunity and all my friends were multi-billionaires, sons and daughters of multi-billionaires. And I remember my closest friend saying to me when I walked away, he said, I hate you now. Like we had talked about what we were going to do together. We talked about having all this money, having all this prestige, having all this ability to make beautiful changes in the world. And now you're walking away from it to go find yourself. How stupid. He said, don't ever even talk to me again. I never want to see you again. You've hurt me so badly. And I said, I'm sorry that I've hurt you that badly. But I can't be you and I can't be something I'm not. We didn't speak for about 35 years.
Wow.
One day, as I was coming out of I was staying at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel because I had friends there on Columbus Square, overlooking the park. I had friends there that were friends of mine, and they gave me a rate that was cheaper than staying in a dive hotel in the city.
Wow.
And so at the Mandarin Oriental, there's a hotel that takes you from ground level to the lobby, which is on the 34th floor. And then when you get to the 34th floor, there are elevators that take you up to your room. So I was coming home in the evening at 10:30 from dinner with friends that I had there. And as I'm coming out of the elevator, coming into the elevator, was this friend that that had told me he never wanted to see me again. And he was walking with 3 girls attached to him. And I said to him, I called him by name. And he looked around, he said, who called my name? I said, I did. And he said, how would you know my name? I said, so you don't remember. I said, this is Danny. We were best friends when we were 15 years old. He said, I can't believe it. Danny, we're going to the club. Come on, come with us. We're going to have a great time. Let's come out and celebrate together and we'll drink and we'll party and we'll do, I've got some cocaine. I've got all. I said, I'm sorry, this isn't that. you go enjoy yourself. Maybe we can have breakfast together, or I can see you, tomorrow when you awake. And I said, I'm not. That's really not my thing anymore. And so,
Mm.
so he said to the women he was with, he gave them about $1,000, and he said, "You go to the club and just enjoy the club. I'm going to just sit." He said, "Danny, would you drink a scotch with me and smoke a cigar with me?" And I said, "Of course." She said, "I've got a great bottle of scotch." He went up and got Johnny Walker Blue from his room, came down. We had a scotch together and a cigar together, and we spoke from about 11 o'clock at night until 4:30 in the morning, catching up. And as we were about to leave, he looked at me and he said, "I hated you. You broke my heart." I said, "I understand. I didn't hate you, but you broke my heart too. You were my closest friend. But I had to honor your wishes. I couldn't. You didn't want to be friends with me anymore, so I honor that, and I'm sorry about that." But he said, "I thought you were stupid. I thought you were crazy. I thought you'd given up everything for nothing. But as I sit with you tonight, I have more money than God. I'm on my fifth marriage. I cheat on my wife every city that I go to. Those women that you saw me with are people that I was going to cheat with tonight. My kids don't talk to me. And I see in your eyes this peace and this contentment that I've always wanted, that I don't have. And so maybe I was the stupid one." And I said, "You're my friend. I'll just come and we'll sit. Let's spend some time together. This is such an easy thing to give you. I'll help you. I'll share it with you. I'll be with you. Not There's no charge for it. I'm your friend." He said, "As soon as I get back, I'm going to call you."
Mm.
I said, "Great." It's been 15 years. I haven't heard from him.
I was sure, yes. Yeah.
And that hurts. There's such a pain that I have in my heart, that people who know better, who know that they can be true to themselves, are scared to be true to themselves because they think, as I mentioned to you before we started recording, that if I were to take down this facade, I'm scared to death. That if I were to take down this facade, you wouldn't love me, because if you saw the person that I see, you would never be able to love me because I'm a monster. I've done irreparable damage to people. I remember being in a room and a woman said, "I've done irreparable damage." And I said, "Excuse me 1 minute. Let me just try something here." I said, "If there's anybody in this room that's done irreparable damage to someone they loved, will you just click your microphone for me?" The whole room lit up like a Christmas tree, because everybody thought they did irreparable damage. So I said, "Okay, now that that's out of the way, you don't have to hide that anymore. We've all done irreparable damage, myself included. So how do we move forward from here? How do we start to love ourselves and allow love to hold us in that space?" And I don't know how this gift has come to me. I don't know why I chose this box. I didn't do anything to merit it. It's a box, just random selection on a box shelf that was pulled out. But I feel so blessed by the fact that I can carry this gift from destination to destination to destination, and that the people can experience the experience of love, not just talk about it, but feel it.
I definitely feel it when I talk to you. So you have this gift of love. How did you cultivate it? Because I find is like your friend or people I was in the room with when in Clubhouse with you and other people. So even myself, I found myself having a little bit of resistance going back in a room with you, because I knew it would be difficult to break a barrier. And it takes practice to know how you have to relearn how to live from a place of um, open-hearted or a place of love. It's there are no we put these facades for so long. This is how we know how to function in the world, and we don't have clear guidance how to function in another way. So that's part of it, is you feel good, you feel loved for a moment, then you go back into your own world, and you might not even want to come back because you know it's going to be a bit painful, and you don't know what to do with all this, how to bring it.
Tell me what is painful about going back into a place where people love you for who you are rather than for who you appear to be? Is it painful to let go of the facade that you've invested so much energy in keeping so that people won't know who you are? What is the pain point? I would love to know that pain point.
I think it's um,
And thank you for being vulnerable enough and honest with me enough to share this and have this conversation. It means a lot to me. And I
oh
want you to
thank
know how much I love you for standing in this place and sharing this with me.
thank you. um, it's, as I said, it's a resistance of, oh, what might happen, and what am I gonna do afterwards, because I'm gonna be left again with myself or alone or
So if so, am I understanding you correctly? Because it's important. I really want to hear what you're saying.
okay.
Am I understanding you correctly that if that you or people might think that if I let down my guard and I allow myself to be loved in this moment by this love that is in this room or this love that I'm feeling right now, that and I go into another room with my guard down and that love isn't there, that would be so painful for me that I would never want to come out and do that again. Is that what you're saying?
No, I wasn't saying that, but uh, yes, that is another way of saying what I was saying. Yes,
Okay.
yes, I will go with that openness in another setting, and where that openness is not going to work, I have to put back my barriers, and that way I know how to function and how to navigate. And
Right.
yeah.
So what if it was sort of like a whisper down the lane type of exercise? What if the reason you get to experience the love for whatever reason that is, like what I have no idea why I'm the person that's delivering this package, but I certainly was not the first one to invent the package of love. Other people have given it to me, and I was scared to death to do it too, until the package arrived to me, and then I realized, hold it, other people want this, so I have to find some way to be able to deliver this love that's been given to me to other people, so I can become the box where I deliver it. So, what in it, in the world, or in you in particular, if you feel to, and you don't have to go into this because it's very personal, waits for the world outside of you to open up the space for you to create that, rather than creating that space for people, whoever comes into it, to feel it. So that when you feel this love, you take this love with you everywhere you go, and you hold the space to love and accept people, to listen and hear people, to acknowledge and validate people. You don't have to. You don't have to tell them what to do. You just have to hold the space, and to see what would happen if they felt loved, if they felt the love that you're carrying with you in your box enough to trust you, to allow you to love and accept them, to allow you to listen to them and hear them, to allow you to acknowledge what they're saying is what they're saying without trying to change what they're saying, and to um, and give them space to do that.
Um, I think so. I'm trying to do that as much as I can,
I
wherever I
know.
can. Um, a difficulty that I find is that I don't. Um, Let me see how I. Let's say it would be easier if I had a master like you or a teacher like you that I would be in contact with uh, more often, and will model that, and I will know to reconnect with that feeling and bring it over, and it becomes a practice.
Yeah,
Yes, it's feeling it a few times might not, and also it entitles the person to um, be secure in that knowledge that the love is there all the time for everyone who wants to open their hearts to. But some people think that I felt this just because this person, this guru, gave this to me and created this for me in this moment, but I'm not capable of carrying that
yeah.
further.
The beautiful part of me is like, look at this. It's an old man, broken down, overweight, vulnerable, and so this is not anything that anybody wants to be. Like I notice in some of the work that I do, when people mistake the box for the present, they start to fall in love with this beautiful energy that they feel, but it has nothing to do with this person. This person, like, is a broken down individual. It's like a piece of a mosaic. The piece of the mosaic can be shattered or broken. It can be big or small. It doesn't matter. But it's when we hold each other and love each other that's there's a communion of that love that we all feel. There is a revolution that is happening of love, where
You
love,
think so?
unbelievably, I know so. I'm experiencing it. For an old fat guy like me in California to be able to walk into a room with people and for people to feel this gift of love that comes when I open up the package and I just say, it's yours, it's all yours. Feast on it. I'm watching what's happening. People feelings are happening. People's body parts are, our pain is disappearing. Places, energy centers in their bodies are opening up. Work situations are coming to them. All sorts of things are opening up because they're not blocked anymore. Like we spoke about, how do we recreate ourselves into the life that we want? But how do we do that when we have walls all around ourselves so that nothing can get in to really touch us? And if our work is touching people and we don't let anything touch us, then how do we have the work that we love to do, right? So I'm just watching like I don't know, I don't normally see it, but I see this beautiful energy field around you just growing as we're speaking. I don't know if you feel anything, but there's like
I
this
do
love.
feel. I wanted to tell you, since we started talking, I felt this
Yeah,
energy radiating from me, like
yeah,
lifting me up.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And so that's the revolution that's happening. And thank you for sharing that, because we really don't know each other. I mean, we had a few minutes to share with each other a little bit, and an email that we exchanged, and you were in a room that where I did, or whatever, however that was. But how is it possible that two people who don't know each other can fall in love with each other so deeply that they really love the person that's there, not the veneer of the person that's there? And that, to me, when I feel that over and over and over and over and over again in rooms, it makes me want to say, how do we spread this beyond the rooms that we're in? And my dream is one time, somehow, when COVID passes or the world is safe again, to take the clubhouse experience and bring it to every house, and to allow people to have that sort of intimacy in person. where we can hold each other and hug each other and support each other and find ways that we help each other to achieve what it is we want to achieve. Because there's tremendous, tremendous power in working together. We did something in a room that I was moderating. A gentleman who heard me speak said, "I just want you to mentor me." And I said, "Okay, I don't, let's see what that means." And he said, I can't afford very much. What do you charge?" I said, I don't charge anything. Tell me what you can afford and we'll just do it." And he works with homeless youth. And he has cerebral palsy and part of his, on the whole left side of his body, his right eye is blind. He works for nothing and works with these homeless youth to try and bring them a better life. And the organization that he's working through chastises him for not being in the office to go to meetings that they're having when he's actually going to them out of his own pocket to deliver them shoes or beds or computers or things that they need in order to function in the school life that they're in. And he said to me in the course of talking to me, "I've been helping people for 20 years and I love helping people. But I just don't know when someone's going to help me. And I can't ask for anything. I have a hard time asking. I'm such a giver. I don't ask for anything." I said, "You come into my room." And he said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "Don't you worry. I'm just going to do something." And I told his story in the room. And I said, "Matt, I want you to speak. No, I want you to tell people your life." He's a PhD. He's overqualified, beautiful, intelligent man. And I said, "I don't want you to sell him a program. I don't want you to sell him a service. I want you to see if you can offer him something, not for free, he'll work hard for you, but can you give him some employment, or can you turn him on to people that will help him do the work that he's doing, so that out of the nothing that he makes, he doesn't have to buy shoes and beds and computers for the kids that he's working with because he has nothing left." He got 20 people that contacted him. And he told me, "I can't believe what happened." He said, "I've never asked for anything here. You just did that for me. And now there's 20 people here that want to help." That's the world we live in. That people are just waiting to help each other. People are just wanting to help each other. People just, when we come from our hearts and love each other, we do things for people because it's just the right thing to do. They don't know from Adam, right? They never met him. They never did it, but they came into my room. They trusted me enough. I told his story. He told his story. They fell in love with him, and now people want to help him.
Yes. And people feel the touch of the words of other people. But one thing, so besides the opportunity you had with your uncle, you my understanding is that you had other business adventures with Hay House and other companies. You were quite a successful business person, so you know that world pretty well. And you made the transition into this world, and you know people who are successful in business, be just employed in a successful company, and they want to keep their employment. They want to help, on the side, but they imagine being successful in these companies, or if they are executives in these companies, they can donate on the weekend some money or some time, but when they are in the company, they have to be competitive. They have to be forget the love and compassion. We have to get things done. So how do you see the business world transforming?
Yes. I want to tell you a story, and it's just the story that comes to mind because I just told it last night to somebody, and so it's present in my head. I've always had the ability to see the world different than other people, and it isolated me most of my life because people would look at one thing and see it the same way, and they'd be in agreement, and I'd go, "Oh my God, it looks like this to me," and people would like, "What, are you crazy?" I mean, but I've always had that ability, and it was always something. I was smart enough to manage my way through my world to know that I could still be popular, I could still have friends, I could still find ways to interact. But I always felt a little bit of an outsider because of the way I saw things. Until one day, one of the people that I was friends with invited me to come into his big corporation. And he said, "What you have is what I want our people to see. I want you to come in and lead an innovation workshop with them. And I want you to spend the whole day with us." I came into New York. It was on the 34th floor of a huge skyscraper. The elevator doors opened up, and you could feel the prestige in every molecule of air in that office building. You could feel the refinement and the money in every breath. And I came up to the woman at the front desk, and I had decided that day to go to that meeting in a t-shirt and jeans. And I walked up to the woman at the front desk, and she said, "Can I help you, sir? Are you lost?" I said, "No, no, I'm not lost. I'm here to do the innovation workshop." And she said, "Okay, let me announce you and take you there." I said, "Please, I'd prefer if you don't." And she said, "I'm sorry, what do you mean?" I said, "I'd like to can you just direct me to where the room is? I'd like them to not know that I'm here." And she said, "Okay, we don't do that." I said, "I know, but it's part of the exercise is beginning right now." And she said, "Okay, so you go around the corner and it's the fourth boardroom on your right." I said, "Fine." I came around the fourth boardroom on the right, and I stopped and I just looked at the room. And there were beautiful Armani suits, textures that were unbelievable. The smell of the room was just exquisite. There were beautiful flowers on the table. There was, a whole array of breakfast things for people to have. And I just stood there and looked into the room. And someone said, "I'm sorry, sir, are you lost?" I said, "Maybe." I said, "What is it you want? Are you here to get the trash?" And I said, "Probably I am, yeah." They said, "Well, the trash can's in the corner over there. Just please go about your business. We're waiting for someone to come to lead the workshop." And I just stood there and I said, "Did you not hear the trash can's over in the corner there, sir? If you could get it." I said, "I don't think that's the trash that I'm looking for. I think I'm looking for the trash that's in the voice of the person that just spoke." I said, "I'm the person that's doing your innovation workshop. How do you think you're doing so far?" And they went, "Oh my God, we suck right now. We're not doing very well. We had you classified because of your t-shirt and jeans, and you're wearing a nice t-shirt and you're wearing nice jeans, but we still didn't. We expected you to look like us." I said, "Exactly." So how do you find innovation when you expect the world to be like you?
Yeah.
And we had one of the best innovation workshops I've ever done.
Hmm.
And so what we have to be able to do in a world of people who think that they can't be kind, because if they think they're kind, they will lose their edge, is just be kind. Because when we show that kindness is by far the greatest motivator in the world, when we show that when we care about people and listen to people, we create a culture that people will take less money because of how much they love being in that environment. When we drive people and ride people and are mean to people and nasty to people and force people and push people to do more, they do less. When we love people and accept people and tell them we've got their back when they fall, no matter how many times they fall, we want them to fall, because if they're not falling, they're not risking anything. We want them to fall. We encourage them to fall. We'll lay down with them when they fall. When they're ready to get up, we'll get up with them, and we want them to continue to take risks and fall. The work productivity of the company goes bananas.
Have you seen that in a real company?
1,000,000,000%, not just one, hundreds. And in fact, what we want to do now is this man, I told you, is when we came together, this man wants to make a business out of me. And when he started to hear what was going on, he said, "This is what we got to do to corporations. I want to talk to Elon Musk. I want Elon Musk. I don't want to help him develop his business. I want to see how do we create a human being out of this mess facade of a person who is unapproachable. How do we allow him to feel what other people feel? How do we allow him to come up vulnerable? How do we allow him?" And I'm just saying him because he's a name. It could be Bezos, it could be anybody. But he said, "This is what I want to do. I want to get us in front of people that can change massive amounts of people, because this is the time. This love is contagious. It's more contagious than any coronavirus. And I want to create a contagiousness that is unrelenting. Because the more people feel it, the more people want to feel it, the more people want to spread it to those who don't feel it. The more people who don't feel it, who start to feel it, will start to spread it to more people who feel it and don't feel it. And that love will eventually take over this world. Suffering will disappear. Kindness will come to the forefront. Love will be the rule of the world rather than hatred and suffering. And people think I'm a dreamer, but so did John Lennon say, "You might think I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one."
Some people say it takes about changing the minds and hearts of about 1% of the population, and then the whole population changes.
Yeah.
I think I hope I got that right, but I know it's a small percentage actually that you need to change, and the change will happen.
But the
Will
amazing
spread.
anthropologist Margaret Mead said that she looked at civilizations, and what changed civilizations was a very small group of people who came together with a fixed purpose in mind. And that small group of people changed the course of civilization over and over and over again. So whether that's 1% or 5 or 2 or 1/2% or 1/3 of a third of a third of a percent, what I know is that when we, the people, decide that we want to do something and we come together as a mosaic, all of our different pieces come together to create this artistry of this mosaic, it is unstoppable.
I have your book right here. I have to read it.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, I cannot wait to read it. I just received it this weekend. So you were a monk at a certain point?
Yeah.
You lived like a monk?
I didn't
And then
live
you
like a
wrote a
monk.
book?
I was a monk. For 10 years, I lived in a monastery.
Oh, where? Where was that? In the US or?
It was in Northern California. I was part of a yoga community, and it was a monastery of, of within the yoga community. And it was the most beautiful experience in my life. But again, like what I write about in the Mosaic is a fableized version of my life. And the
Hmm.
fableized version is it's about a boy who loses his parents 2 years apart on the same day. And when he asks the adults where his parents are, they tell him they're in a place called heaven. So he sets out in search of that place called heaven. But the people he meets are not the religious and the spiritual and the medicine men and women, or the gurus or the shamans or the ministers or priests or rabbis. They're the homeless man and the street worker. They're the blind woman and the trash man. And when he listens to them, he wonders, what am I sitting here with them for? When he takes a minute to listen to them tell him their story, what he realizes is they are not at all who he thought they were. And so the mosaic, an underlying theme of the mosaic, is that nothing is as it appears.
Hmm.
When you hold that as your mantra of nothing is as it appears, and you walk into a corporation and you say people seem mean and callous and tough on each other, and you realize nothing is as it appears. When you go underneath that, you allow people to tell you the story what you end up finding is the pain that's caused that to happen. And when you can love that pain, when you can love on them and show them that no matter how bad they are, no matter how irreparable the damage is that they've caused another human being, that love still loves them, everything softens. And so what happened for me is I was looking for that heaven. I went to my uncle's bit. I went to my uncle and thought that they would be in running a multi-billion-dollar business. I went to school, and my professor became my mentor, and I became his prodigy. He wanted me to start organizational psychology with him, and he said, "I'm older, and this will be yours to take over." So every time everybody had something that was theirs that they wanted me to help them develop, it would become mine, and it happened so many different times, but it wasn't mine. And
Mhm.
so what I realized is that my heaven was in that moment where everything that I saw changed, the way I saw it, the way I'd always seen it. There was a moment where I thought it can never be any different than it is. And in that moment, it was suddenly different. That became that space, that moment, that reflection where my perception was completely changed from one way of seeing it to another way of seeing it, was the place that I know now as heaven. And so being in the monastery was beautiful. I was madly in love with my beloved, and the time that I got to spend with my beloved. I would spend 18 hours a day sitting in meditation. And there were times where I would fall asleep in my chair and I would chastise myself and I would say, like, sleeping, it doesn't give you any credit. To sleep in your meditation chair doesn't give you any credit. If you're tired, go to bed and sleep. And I would chastise myself, and my beloved would come to me and I would hear her say to me, "Danny, why do you chastise yourself? I love that you fall asleep in my arms here. Fall asleep in my arms, and I love that you wake up and I'm holding you in my arms here with you. There's nothing wrong with you sleeping here. Sleep here with me. Let me hold you. And if you're tired, sleep in my arms. And when you wake up, be with me again." And I saw the whole world differently at that moment. That the God that I believed in wasn't a God that punished me for doing things wrong, but loved me for just who I was and and all my insecurities, all my problems, all my things lacks of, all the things that I put on myself that weren't good enough. I was still loved by this beautiful being. And then I would go out into the marketplace and I would see, sort of like you said, well, I'm scared to open myself up to love because then I'll go into another room and I won't feel that. And then I'll feel hurt by that. And I went out in the marketplace and I saw that isn't the way the world was. And I felt different in the marketplace than I did in my monastery. And I said, I don't want to feel that difference. So I had to leave the monastery because I wanted to be in the marketplace the same as I was in my monastery. And it takes a while, it takes a little bit of time, but somehow the gift has been given to me that I can now be wherever I am and just be who I am. And when I show up as who I am, even in the busiest marketplace, people stop and say, "What happened? Who was that guy? What did I feel?" And I like to be an invisible package that walks through the marketplace and just loves and puts and sprinkles the love that's inside my package into every place that I pass. Who knows if it has any effect, but I believe it does.
This is so beautiful. Wow. So, in any situation, the best is to go with love in our heart for the other. And maybe that's where it's better to start to live the love, because sometimes I find myself, I am ready to be vulnerable and talk about true things, not about the facade and people are pushing away. Whoa, 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 we don't want to be that vulnerable and
Well,
talk about these things.
so the beautiful thing that happens for me is I don't put love doesn't push people past where they want to go. So I'm just as happy to love somebody talking about the weather as I am to have them talking about losing their son or their. I'm just as happy to have a conversation because the words that I'm saying don't mean anything. When I was given this assignment to listen to people through the Mosaic, because when I listened So the people tell me their stories. I saw something totally different than I saw. And I was given the consignment, the mission to go out into the world and just listen to those that nobody listens to, and to speak to those nobody speaks to, and to love those that nobody loves. What I realized is that I laughed because I thought, look how much I talk. I'm a talker. I'm not a listener. Like, surely they could find somebody who's better at listening than me. I mean, I just blah, 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 blah the whole time we're here. I'm talking, right? And they said, yes, Danny, you need to listen a little bit more. But more important than that, when you speak, your words are interesting enough that you occupy the mind of people. Fear lives in the mind. When the mind is occupied in the stories you tell and the way you speak, fear listens to your stories. What that
Ah,
does is it allows you then to open up the heart of a person and the soul of a person through just loving them unafraid. And in that transmission of that energy, something happens within them that what I'm saying has the words are so unimportant to what I'm trying to communicate.
I
So
understand. It makes sense. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yes. Wow. Thank you so much for the interview today.
I
It
love it.
was it was a privilege, and I'm looking forward to bringing this message to my community and to the world. Thank you so much.